welcome on board again. Well, today I have a guest in the house, and I'm super excited to introduce her. She has brought the energy on already, so we'll keep that energy to that level. And of course, you'll be wondering who she is, what we're talking about today. Today we have a lot of things. We're just putting a lot of things together that relates with relationship and marriage. But first, let's introduce our guest. Her name is Chinwe Alu. She is a relationship, a marriage, and a family counselor. She's also the CEO of Create Wellness Service Limited. She also oversees counseling units at the House of Freedom. She is an author and a speaker. Good morning, Chinwe.
Good morning. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for
How are
having me.
you
Good
doing?
morning.
I'm doing great.
It's
Great
nice
be
to have you here.
Yeah.
So you're excited to just dive into the topics we have for today.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, today we're talking about a lot of things. Like in marriage and relationship, we're talking about conflict resolution, we're talking about communication, we're talking about infidelity, we're talking about a whole lot of things. And I'm sure she'll be giving us juicy.
Back to back.
Back to back. Thank God you're not even joining us via Zoom. So we have a lot of questions we'll be asking you. Anyways, first, before we go for what we have for today, let's quickly go for a tip. And this tip is just to have a very good relationship. So let's watch this tip. And of course, we'll be right back to the studio to continue the program with myself, Patricia, and Chinwe. Stay with us.
Tips on relationship. Building and maintaining healthy relationship is an important part of looking after our mental health. Here are 6 top tips to support you with yours. The first tip is get to know yourself. Take the time to appreciate yourself and get in touch with your emotions to be able to express yourself clearly and more effectively. Not knowing how to regulate your emotions and express them healthily can negatively affect your mental well-being. Number 2, put in the work. Healthy relationships are not found but built. A healthy relationship needs commitment and willingness to be accommodating to each other's needs. Number 3, set and respect boundaries. Setting boundaries is not only about what you don't like or what you don't want in your relationships, but also about letting the people around you know what you appreciate. Think about and let others know where your boundaries are, respecting your time alone, for example. Doing this can take the pressure off your relationship to commit to anything unrealistic. Number 4, talk and listen. All relationships have disagreement, and that's okay. What matters is how you talk and listen to one another. Listen to understand rather than listening to respond. Don't be afraid to express your emotions or vulnerabilities with people you trust. Number 5, let go of control. A lot of life is about how we react to our experiences and encounters. Knowing that you can only really control what you do and not what anyone else does will save you time and stress. Number 6, reflect and learn. If you have a healthy way of expressing your feelings, you're able to react to other people's in a healthy way. Being angry with someone often comes from a place of feeling hurt and upset. If you can recognize that, you will communicate it and build better relationships with others or your spouse. Reflect on the relationships that work best in your life. What qualities do these relationships have, and how can you bring these qualities into other relationships?
All right, welcome back, a beautiful welcome. Yes, this is Watching Women's Corner. Like I said, we're talking about conflict resolution, communication, infidelity, everything that has to do with relationship, and not just relationship, marriage also. So yes, Chinwe, first, I want to talk about conflict resolution. Now, for a lot of women, they tend to say that their husbands or their spouse, maybe not married yet, do not actually listen to them. But men actually come out to say that it's because of the mannerism they actually tend to complain about certain things, or the way they deliver their message, that makes them not want to listen, and they put up a defensive mood, or probably just look at it as again. Now, for a fact, I know that's true, but don't you think that maybe sometimes the woman has talked in a very different ways just to suit the man, and it wasn't working? Then one time she got fed up because she's human and she just has to loud her voice. So at this point, what would you say? I know you say it's probably wrong or right, but what would you want that, and what should we do at this point?
I always say that there's a way to fight that works when you're in a relationship. Okay. Truth be told, there's no way that you're in a relationship with someone, husband, boyfriend, fiancé, whatever, that you will not have differences from time to time. The less you have them, better for your relationship. But those times will come. And it's always important how you present your case. It's always important. So a lot of the time, we spend time talking to the women. We should actually be talking to both the men and the women, because there's just a way to communicate. Like you said we nag. We nag because we're trying to be heard and we're not being heard. So one rule to resolving issues, people should listen. Okay, so if you're not listening, someone is going to get upset and begin to. Of course. So it's not just that I have a problem. I have to be able to present that problem in a way that you will receive saying. So I also have to have the wisdom to know what time, what place, and the tone of voice to use to talk to the person that I'm complaining to. So if I come to you and I say, that's why you did this thing yesterday, you did it, you done it again, you're always doing this, what will happen is that you will get defensive. You don't have to be my spouse to get defensive. Yeah. You get defensive, you feel attacked, and the next thing you lash out, or you just want to walk away because this person doesn't have your ears. So I always tell people, calm down, articulate your thoughts, get your thoughts together, and then find a good time and place to have your conversation. Because if you don't, people get irritated and they leave. Then secondly, when you're going to talk, don't talk about you. So let's say that she's complaining that her husband comes home late every day. Yeah. And doesn't have time for her. So instead of saying, you're always coming home late, every time you come, I keep waiting for you, don't come home. That won't work. But if she's something, I wait for you every night. I feel lonely, alone, I feel abandoned, and I just feel that it can be better. There's nothing you can do about it. Which man will start beating his wife or walk out on his wife at that point? He won't. He will listen, because if he's a normal husband and a good husband, he's intent to come to
normal husband. Normal husband for me.
His intent is not really to hurt his wife. You know, she's probably busy at work, not able to get back on time. But if she presents it like that, he's going to make the effort to make up for
make amends.
Yes, to make amends. He will make the effort. So it's about the way we do what we do. Yes, you have the right to complain. You have the right to be honest about something that's going on that you don't like. But if you don't present it well, it will not be well received, and the person you're talking to is not going to do anything about it.
So talking about presentation,
absolutely,
your manner of approach
to complaining, and I believe that we can form the habit of being gentle in the way we present. One of the things that are lacking in women these days is that gentleness of spirit is past, in eroded. You know, so we tend to want to shout, raise our voices, sound strict and hard. Meanwhile,
okay, so Chinwe, I'm sorry. Let me chip in here. Yeah. Over time, experience have also taught me that some men need you to shout. Some men need to, because some men you could be gentle with them, you want to be all sweet, and they take you for granted, and then what's she talking about? But when you shout and put your feet on the ground, what do you think?
Well, that's what works for you, but it's
I'm not saying it's me, but I'm just saying for whoever.
What I do know is that it cannot be a statute of general application, because it would mean that your husband is peculiar in the fact that for some reason you need to yell for him to hear. But the average normal man, who is
the normal for me, can you tell us the normal man? What the normal man means?
I'm assuming in a couple of things. He's married. He he wants to be married. He's committed to the woman he's married to, and she's his wife. He recognizes that she's his wife. That's a normal husband.
Good.
So when you see men who you have to shout and yell, check the balances. You find out that the things I just said.
You're
They
talking
don't
about
have
married.
it.
How about those in relationship?
Because it's the same thing.
Okay.
Because you see, a marriage is a relationship. It starts with a relationship.
Yeah,
It never just happens. So if you're not getting it right when you start doing a relationship, when you get married, you still have those problems. So we keep saying to people, let's do it in a better way, you know, and see whether we'll get better results. And I think we do.
Okay, so I was going through my phone when you said that, and I remembered someone asked a question. You know, people just talk to you because you handle a lot of relationship topics. They think you know you could actually answer that question. So this person asked, like, you started a relationship very early, and you find out that the first thing I told her was, well, that's what men do, but you just have to find your, I don't know, the magic behind it. Now, somehow, when a man starts dating you, there's this thing, it's not everybody, to be honest. You know, they want to be committed to you and everything, maybe the first 1 week, then maybe by the second week, when they lay with you, when they become intimate with you. Now, it's as though the level of interest and all the calls and everything just reduced, right? So at this point, now her question is, everything is just reducing. What am I supposed? Is it that? Is it that he literally came? Because according to her, this happens almost every time. Is it that these men are just wired this way? Okay, that she actually doesn't want to keep just working out, like she'll just let go and work out. Like she has to do something. What can she do? And I told her, see, my darling, you just said it. That is what they do. So if you know, probably, I don't know, but so you I correct though.
Okay, so one of the things that I am is I'm a woman of faith. Okay, so I always say when it comes to this, I talk about it from the perspective of faith. And what my faith says is, don't let them sleep. Because there's a hunt. Men are basically hunters.
Yeah.
And so when they come and they are that whole love, you know, when they tell you they love, what do they really mean? And girls are so impatient. They listen. They're not thinking about
No, but women are carried away with the sweet words.
Yes. And I'm saying to you that you can't lose yourself because you're listening to somebody. You have to protect yourself. You have to think of yourself in a relationship. Even when you're married, you should think of yourself. You shouldn't be selfish, but you should think of yourself. So when you're in a relationship and someone is saying, I love you, I love you, I love you, and he's saying all those things and being nice, and then he's pushing you towards sex, and you give yourself sex, and then you're surprised when he walks away. It's more natural for them to walk away than for them to stay. Because I'm not saying the thing is, sex is not a binding force when you're married. Of course, it's not. In marriage, it keeps a marriage. Once you've done the I-do's, it keeps a marriage because you don't have sex when you're married. You're married. But before the marriage, it's not a binding. You understand? Once a guy has had what he wants, and when they're saying I love you, the first thing you have to understand it. You know, I went to girls' school. My daughters went to mixed school, and they got it. You know, at their ages, I hadn't gotten it because I didn't see him in action. You know what I mean? But they just tell you when a boy talks, you don't listen to what he says first. You hold him on. You make him commit points where, and in fact, if you can do it until you get married, that's the better time to do it. That's what I advise. Because until a man has to stop and think about you outside of sex, you can't be sure that he has made up his mind.
True.
So it sounds it sounds old fashioned, it sounds old school.
But it's the truth. Actually,
That's the right thing to do.
And in her case, the person who's talking, it's happened a number of times, but now she should have gotten it that it's not.
Because that's what I told her, the honest truth. Just the same thing. I say, my darling, I cannot say start praying or start talking to him because you already did. But if he loves you, maybe you just keep talking, and if he really loves you, probably come back. But if not,
you know, when a man wants a woman, he does the work. I shouldn't be doing the work when he should be doing the work. I mean, when I get married, I do the work to keep her home. And but even in marriage, my husband wakes up every morning and makes it obvious to me that he's with me. And if he doesn't say anything or do anything, I ask him. When I look at how far, you know, I I make him commit
Yeah.
every day. So you cannot be make effort to get a guy to
want you.
don't
Okay,
stand up
yeah.
for
So
me.
that you said something very important now. You said when you wake up in the morning and probably he forgot or he did not, his mind didn't go to the area of, appreciating what you wear or how you look. Now you said something is like you don't even find a big deal. You walk up to him and you tell him, don't I look good? Don't I look?
Yeah.
We will have that issue. Because most of us, except for those who have grown that part of it, they tend to wait to make sure that, they keep flashing the hair. Their next thing is, did you see my hair? My hair.
There's no need for that. Because you see, a husband, mothers are concerned about a lot of things. How to care for the family. That's usually their major thing. So, what's on their mind is not necessarily, once they've got you, what's on their mind is not necessarily about. If you really want attention, you should ask for it as a wife. You should ask for it. When you notice that his mind is too far away, bring him back home and say, have fun. And make him talk to you. But that's you're married. But a guy who's single and a guy wants you, a guy should
work for it.
Yes, the time to work is before he marries.
Yeah.
So when you're now, and then when we're not married, then I now make the effort. But you haven't made me, and then I'm making the effort. I mean, that person tells you that he doesn't want you. Men hunt. When a man wants a woman, he hunts. I was listening to a couple the other day. The guy sat in a corner watching that girl for months. He would come to the gym and watch her for months, just watching her, making up his mind that he wanted her. Finally, he had the courage to go to meet her, and he still what he wanted until he got it. You don't help men to get you. You don't.
Okay.
You don't. I'm sorry, you don't.
Okay, that's fantastic. My question now is, so many opinions, or a few opinions on what time to get married, not the age now.
Yes.
How long do you think a girl and a guy should cut before getting married? Some people say, I met my husband, or I met my wife, I just met her and I knew that's my wife, and I told her, you're going to be my wife, and then they got married. It had worked for some people, it has not worked for some people. Why some people will tell you, I want to date her for a long time so I'll know exactly the kind of person he or she is before getting into marriage. What time do you think is right for that?
I think that in 1 year, 1 year of being with someone, talking to the person, spending time with the person, is enough time for a guy to decide, or a woman to decide, if I want to be with this person. Beyond 1 year, other things will start to get in the way. We talked about the fact that we don't really want people sleeping with each other.
Yeah.
When you start dating somebody and you're dating him for 4 or 5 years, sex will get into the picture. And I strongly believe that sex confuses people. Once you start sleeping with somebody, you're not able to discern that person anymore. And for a lot of women, they make excuses even when they see things that they should not ignore. That's why they ignore red flags. Why? Because they're already compromised. They're sleeping with this person and want it to end where it should end.
So that people don't talk.
Yes. Or that you feel a sense of attachment to someone you're sleeping with. So once you started that, even when you see things that you should run away from, you tend to overlook them and continue. So I feel that in 1 year, both parties can be controlled. Just so that in a year, you understand? After 1 year, she's talking something. You're not saying anything after 1 year of being in my space. Why are you still there? And I think girls are too concerned about the end, as in
rather than the process.
Yes, and you are with a guy, but you should if he's not saying anything, then take it for granted that he doesn't really want to say anything. Believe his actions. Don't believe what he's saying. Someone is saying, I want to marry, I want to go meet my mother, I want to do this, I want to do that, but he's not
making the move.
Yeah.
And you're listening to him. You should just, I know a number of girls who they kept trying to understand that whole thing, and when they kick the guy out, the guy now knew you either get this thing or you don't. And they now come and say this is it. Don't allow a young man be in your space for longer than necessary. If
he's not doing the work,
if he's not going to, and the reason they do is because they're afraid. There is nothing to be afraid of. The worst thing that can happen to you is ending up with a guy that doesn't love you.
True.
So if you understand that is not an option, then you wait as long as you need to wait for the right person to come along. So if someone is in your space and is acting up, is not committing, and has stayed there long enough, 1 year, 2 years, and is not 3 hair girls date with the guy.
Oh, they did for 7 years.
Why would they date for 7 years? What am I waiting? What are we waiting for? And you're not getting younger.
At all.
And as you are getting older, people are beginning to identify with this person.
With person.
Even though you're not married, it's almost like you're married.
Even
Yeah.
a year or two, they identify you
That's
with the
it.
person.
So
That's
what
you're
are we
married.
doing? You know, I just think that we should not be afraid. We should not be afraid. What you need to do is build yourself up, build your confidence, build your self-love, build yourself up, and just keep building yourself up. If an organization and nobody's in your space, keep working, become a CEO. You understand? If you can't get to be CEO, do
You need to
MBAs, do masters, volunteer somewhere, keep yourself busy. Don't make the object of getting married
The main
work.
focus.
That's not work.
Right.
The work is to meet the right person. It will end up in marriage. Once
Right.
you meet the right person, it will end in marriage. And the person will be making the effort to
Effort.
marry you. I've seen girls who settled and then eventually understood what I'm saying, and eventually got guys who are good guys, reasonable men, and there are still reasonable men around. They are.
Of course, yes.
So this impression that they are no good men is not it's not a fact. It's not true. They are good men. Some men are in process. So you are waiting because this person you are waiting for is still in process. Once he gets through, he's coming.
He's
So just
coming.
wait and keep yourself busy while you are waiting. And don't allow any loser in your space. Sorry for that.
Blossom, I want to ask a question. So
Wait, before you ask the question, let's go on a short break. I don't want to really ask.
I want to ask the question.
Relationship and marriage.
Yes.
But before you ask, let's go on a short break. First, let's go for a break, and of course, after the break, we'll go for a tip. And this tip is about active listening. See, you are in a relationship. You are not in a relationship. Your colleagues, your friends, you just have to listen actively because. Sometimes I tell people when you hear me is different from when you're listening to
Absolutely.
me. Absolutely. Thank you very much. So please let's watch this tip. I'll be right back to the studios. Continue with Chinwe and of course with Patricia. Stay with us.
Eight tips for active listening. Here are tips for active listening. Keep eye contact. Look at the person talking. You have an easier time paying attention and they'll be grateful for your focus. Listen with your body. Nod and gesture with your hands to show you're keyed into what the other person is saying. Make sure your posture and movement don't suggest you're bored or restless. Practice patience. When someone is speaking to you, resist the urge to have something ready to say in return. Listen carefully to what they're saying before answering. Empathize. Listening isn't just about message. Intent and context are important. So try to make a habit of seeing things from their point of view. Try to really put your feet in the speaker's shoes. Avoid comments like, "I totally understand what you're going through." Acknowledge. No one completely understands what someone else is going through. When we acknowledge that fact, our credibility as listeners goes way up. Be present. Ask, "Am I present in this conversation?" Keep your focus on track. Avoid answering the electronic interrupter. The phone, PDA, or email can be a useful means of communication. But if you're with someone, taking an interruption is one of the fastest ways to show you don't really care about him or her. And lastly, hold one conversation at a time.
Welcome back. You're still watching Women's Corner, and yes, we're talking about a lot of things that have to be in relation with relationship and marriage, and of course, we're doing that with Chinwe. Patricia, you have a question? Please go ahead.
Chinwe, we were talking behind camera, and that made me to, I think part of the question I wanted to ask was what you were discussing with me, family pressure on the young girls. Sometimes these girls are wanting to get married to anybody they meet because of the family. Your mom keeps saying, what will the world say? I'm tired. Your father will keep saying, I want my grandchild. The moms are crying, what will the world say? And the fathers are saying, I want my grandchildren. What would it be your advice for the young girls?
I love to talk to young women between the ages of like 25 to about 35 that are not yet married, because those ones are the ones that are under this pressure you're talking about. You go to a family wedding. By the time you get there, your mom, your aunties, everybody is saying, hey, it won't be your turn. You know? And I mean, they mean well, but it's a pressure, you know. And then sometimes some mothers are outrightly putting you under pressure to say, when are you going to get out of this house? Some parents are actually nasty about it. And then so these girls are under this pressure, and they are thinking, what now happens is that they end up in the hands of the wrong man.
The wrong person.
They run into the first person that they see. So my advice to such a young woman would be, you have to, the first rule of being in a relationship actually is to know yourself. Do you understand? Get to a place of personal knowledge, get to a place of self-awareness, get to a place of self-appreciation. Because if you don't appreciate yourself, and your parents keep, or your family members keep doing these things, you will put yourself under that pressure. But appreciate who you are. Appreciate what you bring to the table. Appreciate what you're doing with yourself. So of course, if you are the kind of person who's not adequately engaging herself, you're going to fall prey, and it will be easy for them to put you in that kind of space. But if you are doing things that make you proud of yourself, you understand, you have a good job, you're working your job, you're going at your work, or you're volunteering somewhere. You know, I always tell Christian girls, go and volunteer in church. There's lots of things to do in church, you know. Or you're developing yourself and building yourself up. I understand that some women even kind of depreciate themselves. If I want to buy a car, I say, no, I don't want to buy a car because I don't want anyone to think that they've outgrown them. Keep building yourself up. Keep building yourself up and be busy. Don't allow yourself idle times. I know that television is a good thing because I mean we're on TV right now, but we can't stay in front of TV binging on television morning. You know, every weekend you binge. Every time you have the opportunity, you are binging, and you are binging on all kinds of things that are not adding much value to your life. If you are doing that and then your mother comes and puts pressure, it will hit you. But if you are busy, really busy, doing
developing yourself,
doing something important, and building your own self-confidence and your own self-assurance and your self-appreciation, trust me, you'll be able to handle your parents' pressures. Another thing is, because once you've gotten there and your mom starts, you're going to tell her, mommy, you ask her a question, mommy, do you want me to end up with the wrong person? I'm waiting, and I'm busy while I'm waiting. When the right person comes, I will do it. And you have to be able to tell yourself that and believe it. Because if you don't believe it, you can't really say it to your mom and she will believe it. But believe it yourself, that the right person will come when the right time comes. Meanwhile, I'll keep doing what I'm doing, trusting God that I'll get married. Trusting, still, of course, I'm not saying you should not pray. Pray about it. And be in that place where you are open to the idea of being married. But don't be taken by the fact that I'm waiting. No, there's nothing like waiting. What are you waiting for? Live your life to the full. And while you are living your life to the full, the person will come. The person will come. Someone say, hey, maybe you should put yourself. There's no positioning. Just keep living.
Position where?
Where do you
By the bus stop?
Yes. Maybe they're actually saying you should go out more. Don't stay indoors.
Indoors, okay.
Don't stay indoors. And I'm not saying go out or stay indoors. I'm just saying live your life to the full. If you're living your life to the full, you won't be indoors all the time. Of course. Out there doing something. Be out there doing something. And as you are doing what you're doing, this person will show up. And I'm not talking about Jekurede.
Chiwe, please. What's that? What's the meaning of that?
Jekurede. It's my way of saying just anybody.
Okay.
It's not just any Tom, Dick, or Harry. It's a man who is your guy. He will show up. He will pay the price. He will make the effort. He will show you commitment, and you'll be glad you waited. A lot of girls, I will say these things, but the ones I've seen that end up with men, they follow this track that I'm talking about. Yes. I mean, I can clearly tell you that all the young people I know, I mean, I've known quite a number of young people I've had to encourage to wait for the right guy. You understand? And there was this one who was very tall. She's a very, very tall woman. And her own concern was that she was getting older. And then she's tall. Who's going to get this tall man? Who's going to be my husband? Do you know that when I came, he was a head taller than her?
Wow.
Yes, and they're married today. So I know that it looks like a fairy tale, but I'm telling you that it's a surer way to be. You're not going to get hurt. You won't be getting hurt by all kinds of people that come into your space who are not your people, and you'll be focused. And by the time the person comes, it will be clear that this is your guy. It's very clear. You will know that the journey is over. The next thing start the next phase of life. And I can assure you that today is 12th of May, right? Take this challenge. Take it as a challenge and face it, and you can be sure that I'm not going to be able to say in 2 years' time, in 3 years' time. But when it finally happens, you have enjoyed your life while you're waiting, while you're doing what you're doing. And then when it comes to me, what's the wait?
Okay, so I have one last question because of our time.
Oh,
This
God,
is saying,
that's
what can you do if your partner is ready to settle down with you and you as the lady is not ready? How do you make that man understand that you're not ready? He probably just have to wait a little bit.
Yes. I mean, why are you not ready? You've been dating him. What's making you not ready? But yeah, just explain to him that you're not ready, and that's, you know. Let's flip the coin. If you, the girl, were ready, and he is now. You know the story we're telling.
Yes.
So I also think that if you're not ready, why are you not ready? You've been dating this guy for some time. What are you doing? It could be if you tell me for example, that I'm still in school, I want to finish school, then the guy should be able to understand that. But if you're out of school, you're working, and then you say you're not ready.
Maybe you just need to be more. How about if you just need to be more certain of the person? To be sure. Like you're dating, yes, it's a process, right?
Okay.
You're okay with the person, but there's just this thing that you just want to see if, and once it clicks, you go ahead with it.
Because and if it doesn't click,
So what is the thing? What's that thing?
What I would advise is that the person should be able to identify why. What is that thing you're waiting
Let's make
for?
it
If it is something she can articulate and talk about, then let her tell him. But if it is something she cannot, then maybe she's not with the right person. She can just not be feeling that person.
Yeah.
And it's okay for you to feel that way, but don't keep him hanging. Just like
Don't keep him
Let
hanging.
him go. Let him go.
Just one last question, quick question, please. Okay, is a trend right now with the young girls? I think between the age of 18 to 23, they sell their eggs. To make money, I'm sure, to buy iPhone. So
there's
what?
something that I can never understand. I know that science can do a lot of things for you, but we need to be careful. Because you're 18 and 23, you're not thinking about when you're going to be 30, 31, and actually needing those eggs. So be careful. You can give eggs to somebody that you love because you want to be kind to the person, but you can't be saying it is totally immoral. It is morally totally not right. You can't, because an egg is a potential child, and then you just keep selling them. And what are you buying with the money? What are you doing with the money? Some people think at least I'm not sleeping around. I don't know that this is better than not sleeping around. Not that I'm asking you to sleep around, but it is immorally wrong.
Very wrong. Anyway, we can't take any more questions. The time is already up. Yes, we're done. Even though we have so many questions, but obviously most times we never exhaust the questions. But of course, we can always bring you back again, to continuity to this topic. But I would like to say thank you very much for being on the show. It's been an insightful one, I must say. And of course, thank you for answering a lot of questions. We got good answers. But I hope you enjoyed the show.
I did. I was just beginning to get into the flow.
It's always like that, because sometimes when you tell some of amazing guests that we just have about 30 minutes, or we're like, can you just make it about 20 minutes? But when they come, people are like, it's over. So yes, but really, thank you so much.
Thank you.